So hello everybody and welcome along to this first of our little online tutorial kind of courses. For this one is on coal smoking. For those of you who don't know me, many of you will have met me over the years at different barbecue events and cooking demonstrations, whatnot. But for those of you that don't know me, my name is Roger Beck. I'm based in Limerick. I'm an administrator, moderator on the Barbecue Life Ireland Facebook group. And I've been there almost since the start, since Leon started up the group. So yeah, I'm at the barbecuing a long time, probably 30 plus years, and coal smoking, I've certainly got into it. I've been coal smoking salmon for about 10 or 12 years, and I started doing the baking about 3 years ago. So that's me, that's who I am. So let me introduce you to what we have here in the way of the equipment that I use for coal smoking. So the most important part of the coal smoking, I suppose, are the coal smoke generators and the wood. So first of all, the generators. And the coal smoke generators, they come in two sizes, or the ones that I use come in two sizes. Both of these are made by ProQ, and they're available online or from a room outside and probably other shops as well. But the principle in them is exactly the same. One of them is a 10-inch unit and one of them is a 6-inch unit. So the 6-inch unit is almost a third of the size of the 10-inch unit. 6 by 6 or 10 by 10. So whoever's good at maths can figure out is 36 square inches as against 100 square inches. So about 2.5 to times, the big one is about 2.5 times the small one. Both of them work on exactly the same thing, on the same principle. You fill the channels here with wood dust, fill it the whole way around. You light primarily underneath. They're designed to be lit from underneath by a little candle. So the wood dust slides, and then it burns very slowly all the way around the track. So you want your fire face is only just at the width of the track here, or here on the smaller one. And under normal circumstances, they'll run for probably 12 to 15 or 16 hours. And both of them will run for about the same time, but for about 12 to 15 or 16 hours, depending on the weather conditions, the woods and all that kind of stuff. The only difference between the two units, they both work exactly the same, just the bigger unit generates more smoke, so it depends on the size of the cabinet that you're smoking in. I would normally use just this small little unit. I use a ProQ Elite for doing my smoking in, and this little unit produces more than enough smoke to fill that cabinet and to smoke what I need. The bigger one is for bigger cabinets, bigger units, bigger. So if I was doing smoking in the Broil King offset, for example, I would light the smoke generator in the offset section of the Broil King, let the smoke run through the whole cabinet, and that generates enough smoke then for the bigger cabinet. So if I was doing, for example, maybe 6 sides of salmon at a time in the Broil King, then I'd use the big smoke generator. So there's a number of ways to light these smoke generators, and they're designed, I suppose, originally in that you put a little candle in underneath the start of the dust, allow that to light up. So you use these little nightlight candles. These are what fit. And just one thing, if you're ever buying them, to be careful that the smaller generator will only take a very low profile candle. The bigger generator will take a larger profile candle. So there isn't much between them, but if you look, there is maybe a couple of millimeters, and if you buy the wrong one, the big candle won't actually fit into the small unit. So if you can, buy the smaller little night lights. They'll work fine. You just light them up, push them under the dust, and light them away. So the alternative method to lighting the dust is to actually use a little creme brulee lamp. I find this thing to be very handy. You just push the button, light it up, put it on the start of your dust, and you'll find that it'll light up quite quickly. So that is the alternative method I use. Or you can, if you like, use just a standard lighter. Just put it in under the start of at the start of the dust, and again it'll light away for you. There's lots of different dusts that you can use for coal smoking. I have just a selection of the ones I have here. I have an almond wood, I have an apple wood, I have two lots of different apple wood. Now this one is one that just a friend of mine who was cutting down an apple tree collected the dust. You'll find the texture is very, very fine, and it does need to be quite fine. Or this is the kind of commercial produced apple wood which I get from a room outside. That's the apple. It comes from ProQ, or it also comes in maple. It comes in cherry as well, and it comes in hickory and a number of other different flavors, beech, oak, all those kind of things. So there's a selection of them there. The next one I have here is an orange wood. This has a sweeter kind of a flavour to it. I have a whiskey barrel here, which again, it is what it says in the tin. It's made from whiskey barrels, and again, it's that fine dust. You can see the texture of the dust there, and I have the cherry dust. So the idea of having a selection of different dusts is that you can actually use the dust, the flavour of the dust, number one, to get the flavour profile on the finished product that you want to make, but also to match the smoke flavour with the product that you're smoking. So for example, fruit woods like apple, maple, almond, cherry, they work very, very well with pork or bacon, obviously when you're smoking your bacon. The heavier woods like beech and oak, they work well with cheese. The whiskey barrel, I find the whiskey barrel is lovely with salmon, but it also works well with bacon. But really, you just pick the profile that you like yourself. But these are the selection, the ones that I use here. And what I would normally do is I actually mix my woods before I smoke. So I put maybe equal quantities of apple, maple and hickory and cherry into a bowl together. I always put them into the microwave for a minute, just to dry out any dampness that might be in the woods. Wood dust can go out from time to time. It can extinguish. And I've found over hard experience that one of the best ways to prevent that is to actually microwave the dust just for 1 minute in a little bowl before you put it into the cold smoke generator. Another thing to be aware of, that even though the generators, they look quite small, especially the smaller one, that it looks like it won't take very much dust at all, but it actually does take a large quantity of dust. So just make sure you heat up enough of it at the start to put it in. You can always put it back into the bag, and if the mix is slightly off, it really doesn't matter, unless you have a wonderfully educated palate, unlike mine, when you can tell the difference between the different flavours of wood dust. But otherwise, I would just work away, and you put out enough, heat it through, and then put it back into the bag, whatever you don't choose. So as I say, once you have your dust heated through in the microwave, you fill up your smoke generator. It's very important that the dust doesn't go over the top of the lip that you have fitted up, that it comes below the lip. The reason behind that is that if you have like a bridge over the lip, over the barrier, the fire face can actually jump, and suddenly, instead of having one fire face and working in one direction, suddenly you end up with three, in that you have the original fire face, but if it jumps over the wall, then it will start burning in two directions from the middle, and the next thing you only generate maybe 4 or 5 hours worth of fire instead of the 12 or 14 hours which you're expecting to work. Now, you don't always need 12 or 14 hours if you're doing things like cheese, garlic, butter, water, items like that. You don't need as much time. So what you do, you just half fill the smoke generator. You run for 5 or 6 hours. If you find that's enough, great. If you want to put it on for another hour, you can learn by experience. If you're doing bacon, some people like to smoke twice. So what they'll do is they'll run the smoke generator for 10 or 11 hours, take out the bacon, rest it in the fridge for maybe 24 hours, and then run it for another 12 hours. So they're getting an extra heavy smoke onto the bacon. Again, it's all down to personal preference in the final flavours that you want in your meats or your cheeses or whatever you like to do. But you can vary the smoke time so that you have a selection, just by the amount of wood dust that you put into it. So fill your tracks up to just below the level of the dividing bars. Don't fill it very shallow and go all the way, but fill it more or less to the top and go halfway, so as far as you need to go, depending on the time. As I say, your total run time should be about 12, 13, 14 hours, but if you only fill it halfway around, obviously it'll come to half the length of the run time on the smoke. Another thing to remember when you're doing your cold smoking, once you are finished the smoking time, don't eat your product straight away. You will find that if you do, you have a bitter smoke, acrid kind of a smoky flavour comes off the fish or the bacon or whatever you're using. I would normally leave my smoked item rest for certainly up to a week. At that stage, the bitterness of the smoke has kind of equalised across the product, and you don't have that acidity, that acrid flavour coming off it. You get a much milder, smoother, more even flavour across the food. So again, just bear in mind, don't expect to eat your product straight away. It will be bitter, you'll taste it, you'll be disappointed. It's the hardest part of smoking, is leaving the product for a week. So just remember, bear in mind, it is a week that you need to leave it for before you go and do the smoking. So that's just a very brief introduction to cold smoking. I think we'll probably, once everybody has seen the video and Paul's video on the curing, when he's going to do a bit about the curing of the bacon, we'll follow up later on with curing salmon and all that kind of stuff. But once people have seen the videos, had a chance to look at them, listen to them, and then there'll be lots of questions. It's hard to know coming along what people want to know, so this is just a brief introduction. But we'll have a live Q&A. We'll set the time at the end of this video when we'll run the Q&A, but we will be online and we'll be available for questions. But of course you can always direct message or put questions up on the group at any time, and we'll always be happy to help. But that's just a brief introduction to cold smoking, what it is, the equipment that you'll need, and best of luck with it. Enjoy the process. As I say, this is a learning process for us all. We're learning to do the teaching. Hopefully some of you are going to learn a little bit about how to produce the food, and ultimately we'll all be a little bit better at what we're doing by the time we're finished. So thanks for